Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to work on more of the LS engine, and since we've got the 55 Chevy almost finished except for block sanding, wet sanding, and polishing, I thought I'd do a video of the progress on the LS, on the LQ9. And what we've got today are heads that we're porting, maybe not polishing, but we're going to port them. And let me show you what I've got so far. I've done some work on these heads already. These are for an LQ9 out of an Escalade, and these are 317 heads, all aluminum. And so I've done some work on the bowls, on intakes and the exhaust, and it's kind of tough to see. I'll have to lay these down and get some light in there. So this is going to be a mild port job. I am not going to touch the chamber at all, except to just smooth these rough edges out, these corners for the spark plug mounts. That's all. I'm not going to even polish this or sand it. So we don't want to decrease our compression in the cylinder. But what I am going to do is, let me see here. I hope this shows up a little bit better. So intakes, I smoothed out that hard bump. These two sides, and on the valve guide I've smoothed that out a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy. This isn't a race engine, but I do want to get a few more horsepower out of it. And then the same thing on the exhaust. And let's see, sorry about this shaking. But the same deal on the exhaust. I smoothed out where the valve guide is, the mount, and made these ramps a little bit. Took off the rough corners. And then in the bottom of the bowl I did just a little bit of blending here. And then at the top of the, or actually that is the floor of the exhaust. I blended that just a little bit, not much, doesn't take a whole lot. So I think that's going to be the extent of what I'm going to do at the valves. The majority of the porting is going to be down on the other side of the valve. At the intakes, there are a few areas to work on. This bottom, and I apologize for not showing you the original, but if you have 317 heads, there's a bump right here, and so I smoothed out that transition. And then in here there's a big bump, which I am going to take out, and that is the bottom of the rocker mounting post, which is for that guy. So what's going to happen is once that bump is smoothed out, that mounting hole is going to come through straight, so it's going to be an open. So just be sure when you put on the rocker bracket or the rocker bolt that you seal it with I don't know, RTB or some kind of silicone. So I'm going to work on that, and we're going to smooth out a little bit more further in the chamber. You can see that the valve guide has been trimmed back a little bit. But so again, these aren't going to be, it's not an aggressive porting job. It's just basically just to get the airflow a little bit higher. So the way we're doing it is I've ported many heads, and they're all cast iron. So I have a set of burrs for cast iron, and these burrs have a closer closer tooth. So on these aluminum heads, what happens is if you use these burrs meant for cast iron, if you use them on aluminum, they're going to gum up, and so I can get that out, but I just haven't cleaned this one. The type of burrs that you do need for aluminum have more of an open, their teeth are further apart, but what that means is these are going to be more aggressive, and especially on soft aluminum you can easily gouge in and take a lot more material out than you really want. So you just have to be careful. I was using this burr down in here, and it did catch, and it took a chunk out, so just be careful. So the set that I have is a treetop shape, a ball shape for getting in kind of like the smoothing out the where the valve guide sides are. That works pretty well there. And then the other one is got like a rounded tip. But again, these are aggressive, so you have to take it easy. And what I have is a Makita power die grinder, and this thing spins fast and it has a lot of torque. So if you catch it, it's not going to slow it down, whereas an air tool may slow down and you can release it quickly. On this tool, this is pretty much, it stays locked in until you positively hit it. So you don't always have your hand or finger on this switch. So just be careful with this tool, and it will take chunks out. So just beware. So let me show you what I have, or what I intend to do on the exhaust side. Forgot to show you these. Also the other tools that are extremely handy are these long burrs. I don't have any long burrs for aluminum, but these are all for cast iron, and I've used all of these from time to time to do port jobs. And I'm not an expert by any means, and I don't even know for sure that the improvement, how much improvement there's been with porting heads. I do know that the airflow is better, but it's, if there's less restrictions or less air turbulence within these passageways, it's certainly going to flow better. So I've never done a before and after of flow on heads that I've done, or even doing dyno runs. But anyway, these are the tools that I use. And then I have a flapper wheel that I use on a drill for sanding and smoothing everything out. And I will do that and use that on these exhaust ports. Probably not going to use them on the intakes, but the exhaust, just to eliminate carbon buildup. It just makes it slipperier, more slick. That carbon just should, not be able to get a grip and build up. So the exhaust runners, I've taken down some on the valve guide. I'll do a little bit more. But on here, I've used marker ink, and I haven't done anything. I do have a gasket to use as I go by, but this is not a match gasket to the headers that I intend to use. I just ordered a set of headers, so I'll use the gasket that I'll match with the headers, and then back up and probably take something out of this sealing to open this up somewhat. Might be able to gain a little bit on these sides, but as far as the floor goes, because the flow is going from bottom, or actually it's coming from the top down, the main emphasis should be on this sealing part. Make sure that that's decent. It's not as critical on this floor. So I'm not going to do anything with this edge or remove any material down there. Try to just smooth it out with a flapper wheel. So that's about where I'm at. I did I lapped the valves to make sure that the seat is positive. And since I'm done the majority of the work in these bowls, there's no chance of nicking the valve seats. So these are lapped with a coarse lapping compound and then a fine lapping compound. Even though these kind of look ratty, dirty, they are clean, but they're not pretty. So let's see what else. Now I have ordered a set of new valve guide seals. These came out of a Cadillac Escalade, and I thought that the guy that I bought the engine from said that it had about 160,000 miles on. So I figured, well, while I have everything apart, I will change these seals just to eliminate any possibility in the future of leakage, and then you end up burning oil. The other thing is I'm putting a Sloppy Mechanics Stage 2 cam in this engine, so it has a higher lift and longer duration. So I am going to be and it's an Elgin type of cam. I'm also replacing the stock valve springs with Elgin, matching Elgin valve springs for that cam. Safety first. Eyeglasses are a must, and if you want to keep your hearing for a long time into old age, use some earmuffs, because this die grinder is pretty loud. So we're going to do the intake runners and remove this bump. be able to reach in here all the way with this bit. I might have to use one of the longer bits meant for cast iron, but I'm only doing that because it comes up with aluminum. So. I don't know if you can see the. Let me get you in here closer. If you can see that I have removed almost the entire bump. I don't feel the hole yet for the bolt on the rocker, but I'm sure it's there. I hope to be able to reach in here all the way with this bit. I might have to use one of the longer bits meant for cast iron, but I want to avoid doing that because they get gummed up with aluminum. So I can't get in there all the way in order to get this side wall smooth. There's still part of a bump down on the bottom side, so I was using this bit, the short bit, but I'm going to use this long extended bit in order to get down there. This is meant for cast iron, so I hope I don't, if it starts to gum up, I may quit and just order another long burr bit that will do aluminum. So we'll give it a try, see what happens. One trick that I've seen before is if you're using a bit that's getting clogged, smear it with some kind of wax or something that will lubricate the bit itself. And I've got some old floor wax, I guess this is what it is, and dip the bit, get it coated with some of this wax so that the aluminum, the melting aluminum, will release off of that bit. That long cast iron bit, well, it's carbide, but it's used for cast iron, seemed to work pretty well. I didn't gouge in real hard, kept moving around and made sure that the bit didn't heat up. But I think we got it relatively smooth, and the surprising thing is I don't see that stud hole. At least I don't feel it. So I think that's working out pretty well. We gotta clean up these bits and get a closer look from the other side. Well, let me see. Maybe we can see it. No, not really. I can feel that it's relatively smooth. I think you can see. So right there is where the big bump was. It's still not flat, but I'll go in with I guess with a long flat bit. This is a rounded bit. One of the flat ones, and try to just get it uniform. But right now, that's probably good enough for an improvement in flow. So I've got 7 more to go. So we're looking pretty good with the intakes. I finished, let me see, I finished all 8 cylinders to get this bump out. Down here, there is and I can feel the hole for the rocker bolt. So the only thing left to do there is get a pick, pull out that, clean out this hole, and there's the hole down there, and it's on each cylinder. Get a pick just to get any debris out. These heads are all going to be washed, but before I finish these heads, I will use an 80 grit flapper sander mainly for the exhaust. Keep the carbon buildup at a minimum. We got some of those started to clean up some, but they need to be cleaned. And then when I get the headers and gaskets, I will gouge out some more of this, some more of the sealing. So we'll see how much material's got to come out of there. But there's plenty of thickness between the valve seat and the sealing of the exhaust port. But we just have to be careful not to take too much out. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Again, I just have to sand, and it's a mild port job. Nothing crazy. Mainly cleaning out any major bumps, blending these bowls. That's done. So that's about it. So that's the port job on the LS heads, the 317s. We'll see how things go with the rest of the build. I'll be videotaping some more of that. Not videotaping, but recording some more of that. And we'll have more videos of that work in the near future. I'm not in a big hurry to get things built. I do have the majority of the parts, all the rebuild pieces for the engine, but I still don't have a car to put them in, or to put the engine in and transmission. So anyway, I just wanted to make this quick little video of the head porting to show you guys. And thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody's comments, so list them below. And we'll see you the next time.